Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. So this week, Todd Bowley has been speaking about the Premier League having an all-star game. Now, it's probably something that's never going to happen in the Premier League. And as much as I'd like the novelty of something like that, with the amount of fixtures in the Premier League and all the other competitions and international competitions, and the fact that I don't think football would take it as seriously as, say, the NBA does, I don't think it will happen. I just don't think it will happen for those reasons in England. But it is interesting and it always starts debate. So in this video, myself and Rory are going to give you our teams for the North versus the South. Now, I'll be doing the North. Now, I know I'm from the Midlands, but I think in this case, the Midlands counts as the North. And Rory will be repping the South and giving his team. And we'll go through our 11s, give you a coach, and you lot can let us know which team you think is better. Now, obviously, the North is helped by the fact that we've got Manchester United up there, Manchester City, Liverpool as well in that region. So we're helped by that. But Rory's got Chelsea, Spurs, Arsenal players to pick from, as well as the likes of Crystal Palace and everyone else in that region. So let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe comment your teams in the comments as well. And make sure you're subscribing, not only to this channel, because we want to hit 150k ASAP, but also subscribe to Rory's channel as well. The link is in the description. So let's get stuck into these teams. First up, in goal, I have gone for Ederson. Yes, it was a toss-up between Alisson and Ederson. And on another day, I might pick Alisson, but I do think Ederson's probably a little bit ahead of him at this time. And for me, I like Ederson a little bit more, personally, although he is obviously a Manchester City player. So I've gone for Ederson in goal, arguably the Premier League's best goalkeeper. I know Alisson's in with a shout up there as well, but I've gone with Ederson in goal.
I'm going to start with a goalkeeper, and this is interesting. I've gone for Sanchez from Brighton. At one point, I was going for Lloris, but that was hugely frowned upon, weirdly frowned upon. Lloris didn't get any love when I was sort of having this conversation on my Twitch channel. So Lloris was my suggestion. Got totally laughed out. Ramsdale, not quite for me. Mendy, obviously not. I mean, it's ludicrous to even suggest that he should be here. So I am going to go for Robert Sanchez in goal. I like the way he plays out from the back. I like his distribution. I think he's a really good goalkeeper. And I have a feeling that he could be on his way to Stamford Bridge fairly soon. So I've gone for Sanchez in goal.
Then we move on to our defences. At right back, I've got Kyle Walker. Now, it was a toss-up. You've got obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold as well, who's a possible shout for this position, and many people would go with him. But I do think when you're picking an all-star team, you know, longevity, seniority counts, I think, as well. And Kyle Walker has achieved an awful lot in the game. Although Trent's got that Champions League medal, Kyle Walker's got more trophies to his name, more international appearances to his name. He's played at the World Cup, played at the Euros, etc. So I think that would count in his favour in this instance. So Kyle Walker at right back.
Fullbacks, I don't think there's a debate here. I mean, right back is Reece James, isn't it? There's no tribal bias from me here. Right back is Reece James. Doesn't matter where you sit on the footballing spectrum, Reece James is a right back. And I think Reece James would be the right back if you were doing the whole country, not just North versus South. I think Reece James is the answer.
At left back, I've gone for Andrew Robertson, probably the best left back in the league. I know Terrell Malacia is on the come up and snapping at his heels, but Andrew Robertson deserves his position in this team. Obviously won the Champions League, won the Premier League, etc. So I'll go with Andrew Robertson there. Cancelo is another shout as well, but I just feel like Robertson has the edge in this instance.
I've gone Ben Chilwell left back. I've gone all Chelsea fullbacks, which I think is correct. I think Zinchenko is certainly in with a shout here, but overall I think Chilwell is a better player. Cucurella, I think he's good. I just don't think he's as good as Chilwell.
At centre back, I've gone with Virgil van Dijk first up. I know he's been through some difficult times at the moment. He's kind of turned into Liam Gallagher, his hands behind the back all the time. You know, not really closing down players. He seems scared to make a challenge at the moment. But he is still one of, if not the best centre-backs in the Premier League and possibly in Europe as well. My second centre-back is Raphael Varane. Now, I know there's many arguments for other centre-halves, and this isn't just based off his form at the start of this season. If he was based off form last season, Rafael Varane doesn't make it. But I also think in this instance, in an all-star game, you have to take into consideration what these players mean to the game. He has won a World Cup. He has won multiple Champions Leagues. And that would matter a lot. He would have to be in an all-star team. He'd have to be. He's the most all-starist out of all the centre-backs, isn't he? So Rafael Varane goes in there, and not just because I'm a Man United fan.
Centre halves, I found quite tricky. I mean, Thiago Silva's in. Thiago Silva is virtually unlike anything I've ever seen before. He is so good. It all comes so easy. He is a leader. He is everything that you want in a footballer. Totally embraces the traditions of Chelsea. He celebrates goals as if he's a fan in the stadium. He is an icon. I just think it's a shame that we didn't sign him when we should have done, because the partnership that he would have had with John Terry would have been impenetrable. So Thiago Silva undoubtedly in. And then it got a bit complex. I was thinking Gabriel, maybe. Then I was obviously thinking Saliba, but he hasn't been doing it for as long as my suggestion. I've gone for Romero. I think that Romero as a signing was inspired. I think that he was phenomenal for Tottenham last season. He was one of the main reasons that they secured top four. And he is a class act. He also demonstrates in abundance, that element of edge that I know, Adam, you appreciate in a footballer. I certainly do as well. So I think the answer is Romero.
In midfield, I've gone for a midfield three. I'm going with Casemiro as the holding midfielder in that one. Again, you've got the likes of Fabinho that could possibly be in the mix. You've got the likes of Scott McTominay who could possibly be in the mix. But Casemiro, for me, has to go in there for the same reasons probably as Rafael Varane. I know Casemiro hasn't really played in the Premier League yet, but his status in the game would mean he would be called up for one of these games. And also, he's up there with the best holding midfielders in the world. Even though he hasn't played for Manchester United much yet, he is simply that. So Casemiro goes in the base of my midfield. My second midfielder is Kevin De Bruyne. So I've gone with Kevin De Bruyne ahead of Casemiro in that midfield. Superstar midfielder for Manchester City, for Belgium. Plenty of assists, plenty of goals. He does it in the Premier League, he does it in the Champions League. He has to be in your All-Star 11 representing the North. It is as simple as that, isn't it? Kevin De Bruyne has to be in everyone's team, unfortunately. Now, as much as I would like to slip someone like Bruno Fernandes into this team, as we've spoken about before, with Casemiro, with Rafael Varane, but also I think he's got the quality as well. Thiago would get that nod ahead of Bruno for me in a midfield three because of the status in the game and because I think he gives you that balance. Bruno would be fighting for De Bruyne's position, really, wouldn't he? And I think a midfield of Casemiro, Thiago and De Bruyne is pretty balanced. It's got everything in there, really, and they're all world superstars. And that's what the All-Stars is about.
Midfield was tricky. Midfield was really tricky because N'Golo Kante I found very difficult here. I feel like I have to put N'Golo Kante in. I feel like he belongs in this. I think he's a class act, but fitness issues are a concern. Longevity is a concern. And there are excellent midfield options here. I think Odegaard deserves a mention, but isn't going to quite make my team. N'Golo Kante is in, and I appreciate that has been done over the past sort of 6 years for the player that he is, rather than the past 12 to 18 months. So I've perhaps been a bit generous. I perhaps have adopted an element of bias, but I just think that N'Golo Kante is genuinely one of the best who have ever done it. Like, this isn't sort of comparing decent midfielders. This is comparing some of the best who have ever done it in their position. Like, if you're comparing N'Golo Kante to footballers, you're not comparing him to footballers who are playing the game today. I don't know, McAllister at Brighton or whatever. You're comparing him to the best that have ever played in that position. You're comparing him to the likes of Claude Makélélé. You're comparing him to the likes of the very, very best that have ever played the game. Michael Carrick, for example. That is where I think N'Golo Kante belongs, and for that reason alone, I'm putting him in. But I'm also putting Declan Rice here. So I've got a pivot of Declan Rice and N'Golo Kante together. I've then got Mason Mount just in front of them. I think Mason Mount under Graham Potter is going to be a revelation. So I've gone for Mason Mount. So my midfield three is Kante, Rice, Mount. Gentle homage here to Martin Odegaard. I think he's a glorious footballer. I love the way he plays the game. I love his eye for a pass. I love everything about him. He just doesn't quite make my team.
Now ahead of them, in my front three, we'll start off with one of the wingers, Cristiano Ronaldo. Now you have to have a front three with Cristiano Ronaldo. All right, on form, doesn't get into many front threes, or Premier League 11 or whatever. But Cristiano Ronaldo showed last season how good he was in terms of goal scoring. And he's also Cristiano Ronaldo, for God's sake. Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo's going to get an invite to an All-Stars game. It's just obvious, isn't it? Cristiano Ronaldo's going to be there with bells on. He's going to be the main attraction for any Premier League All-Star game. So Cristiano Ronaldo is in the team. Then you've got Mo Salah on the other wing. Mo Salah in there, obviously a Champions League winner, Premier League winner. You've obviously got the likes of Foden, Grealish, Mahrez, except Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, who could potentially fight for a spot in the team. Maybe I'm being kind to the two United players there at the end. But you've got all those players that could fight for the team. But in my opinion, has to be Mo Salah in that front three. And then the striker is none other than Erling Haaland. Has to be, don't it? He's an absolute robot. He scores goals for fun. It's almost a glitch. It's not fair to the rest of the Premier League. But Erling Haaland up top in this fancy North Premier League 11 of All-Stars, or whatever the hell you want to call it. That doesn't sound as sexy as the NBA All-Stars, does it?
I've then managed to shoehorn in Gabriel Jesus into my team. I'm playing Gabriel Jesus on the right. Harry Kane obviously through the middle. And then I've gone for Heung-min Son on the left. But I do, again, just a gentle homage. I really was thinking of playing Zaha there. Annoyingly, for the manager, I've gone Antonio Conte. I mean, it is Antonio Conte, isn't it? I'd love it to not be. I don't like christening a Tottenham manager as the main man here. But that is my team. I also have a Northern team, which is definitely the right team. And there is absolutely not even a whisper of a Manchester United player.
But that is my team for the North 11. Ederson, Walker, Van Dijk, Varane, Robertson, Casemiro, Thiago, De Bruyne, Salah, Haaland and Cristiano Ronaldo. The manager for that team would be Pep Guardiola. Again, I know in the past I've said I think Klopp is the best because of what he's done with less resources at Liverpool. But I think, again, when you look at Pep Guardiola's track record, not only at Man City, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, he's got that all-star status, hasn't he? So Pep Guardiola would be my coach.
To everyone on the AdamMcKola channel, thank you for tolerating me for this 5 or 6 minutes. Appreciate it. And I will see you all soon. Make sure you subscribe to AdamMcKola. Do it right now. Or you already subscribed to him. Subscribe to me. Thank you.
So there you have mine and Rory's 11. Rory's 11, very, very interesting. He had Conte leading that 11. Kane, Jesus, Son, Mount, Rice, Kante, Chilwell, Silva, Romero, Reece James and Sanchez. A very, very interesting 11. One Arsenal player in there. And you know what? As crazy as that sounds, Rory's right. I know Arsenal fans are going to be in the comments complaining, how have you only got Gabriel Jesus in there? Only one Arsenal. That's bang on. Who else gets in there? I'm not sure Ben White gets ahead of Silva or Romero. I'm not sure any of their midfielders get in ahead of Rice, Kante. Maybe Odegaard ahead of Mount. But I can see why Rory's done that. Son, Kane, Gabriel Jesus. That's a great front three. But I tell you something. The North would be absolutely battering that team. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing and all that jazz. And we'll be back with much, much more very soon. See you in a bit.